Family and Marriage Counseling, Unit 5, Theories in Family Psychology, including social learning, communication, and symbolic interaction. Symbolic interaction refers to a unique approach to studying human group life and behavior. It focuses on socialization and personality, how individuals acquire societal behavior, and how attitudes and values are organized. Symbolic interaction theory calls for The term symbolic interaction began to be used to refer to a specific and distinctive approach to studying human group life and personal behavior. From a socio-psychological perspective, it focuses on two main issues that fall within the scope of interest in family studies: socialization and personality. Socialization emphasizes how individuals acquire patterns of behavior, ways of thinking, and emotions specific to their society, while research related to personality examines how attitudes, values, and behavior patterns are organized, and the community's specific ways of thinking and feeling, while personality research focuses on organizing attitudes, values, and behavior patterns. Symbolic interaction theory emphasizes exploring individuals' tangible actions, focusing on meanings, situation definitions, symbols, and interpretations. This theory posits that human interaction occurs through symbols, and interpreting these symbols, verifying others' actions' meanings. Bloom's symbolic interaction theory outlines three premises. First, humans act toward things based on their meanings. In families, these things include inanimate objects like toys, people like grandparents, categories like friends, systems like schools, or abstract concepts like freedom, or activities like a wife's requests or a father's commands. Symbolic interaction, as Bloom defines, rests on three premises. First, people act toward things based on their meanings. In families, these can be objects like toys, people like grandparents, categories like friends, systems like schools, concepts like freedom, or activities like a wife's requests. In the family context, these things can be inanimate objects like toys and books, or other human beings like grandparents and children, or categories such as neighbors and friends, or systems like schools and industries, or even abstract concepts like freedom and compassion, or activities related to others such as a wife's requests or a father's commands. 2. Meanings are derived from social interaction. Meaning can be reached in two ways: from the subject itself or from the individual's psychological makeup. Symbolic interaction varies because meanings are a social product. Meaning can be traditionally arrived at in two ways: either as the essence of the thing, a rose is a rose, a slap is a slap. So, the meaning here is derived from the subject, or it can come from the individual's psychological and mental makeup. Therefore, symbolic interaction varies according to these perspectives, because meaning arises or emerges through the process of interaction among people, which is why meanings are a social product. 3. These meanings can be addressed and modified through an interpretive process that the individual uses when dealing with the things they encounter. Based on these three premises, symbolic interaction becomes an analytical framework for human society that differs from other frameworks. Third, these meanings can be addressed and modified through an interpretive process that the individual uses when dealing with the things they encounter. Based on these three premises, symbolic interaction becomes an analytical framework for human society that differs from other frameworks. Symbolic interactionism suggests studying individuals at their specific level. To understand human marriage and family behavior, we must study humanities, not non-human forms, due to a qualitative difference, especially in language and symbols. Interpreting social behavior, like choosing a spouse or seeking a divorce, cannot be done by observing animals. Social life differs from natural or biological life. Thus, symbolic interactionism posits that understanding people requires studying people, not non-human forms, to comprehend family lifestyles. There is a qualitative difference focusing on language, symbols, meanings, and signs. Interpreting social behavior cannot be done by observing non-human behavior. Social life is distinct from natural or biological life. Symbolic interactionism suggests studying people to understand human relationships. The second hypothesis is that understanding human social behavior requires analyzing society. The behavior of a husband, wife, and child can be understood by studying their society. Social life does not resemble natural life. Therefore, symbolic interactionism suggests studying people directly to understand family dynamics. Another hypothesis is analyzing society to understand behavior. Behavior of family members can be understood by studying their society and subculture. This hypothesis disagrees with society as an infinite reality. Society lacks metaphysical precedence over individuals, and cultural determinism is not valid for all behavior. The second hypothesis suggests that understanding human social behavior is best achieved by analyzing society. By studying the society and subculture, one can comprehend the behavior of individuals like the husband, wife, and child. This hypothesis does not claim society as an infinite reality. Society lacks metaphysical precedence over individuals, and cultural determinism cannot explain all behavior. A person's birth in a society influences their language, definitions, and perceptions of appropriateness, learned from their social and cultural environment. The third hypothesis states that a human child is non-human at birth. Similarly, the birth of a person in a particular society means that the language they speak or the definitions they apply to situations, as well as what is considered appropriate or inappropriate, are learned from the social and cultural environment in which they were born and raised. The third assumption is that a human child is inherently human at birth. Society and the social environment are indeed what ultimately determine what pattern of behavior is social or antisocial. A newborn infant indeed cannot cry out all night to truly and absolutely punish his parents, nor can he sleep all night to completely please them. The child cannot understand meanings yet. The child has drives, but lacks specific goals. The child can grow socially, and these drives can be directed. Sociologists call this socialization. A socially prepared person can communicate symbolically, share meanings, and act and react. Observers must see the world from the subject's perspective, not just external forces. Humans interpret, and known meanings are essential. We empathize with friends' misfortunes, share children's joy, and a husband can predict his wife's response to a gift. The fourth hypothesis states a socially prepared human communicates symbolically, shares meanings, and acts. Observers understand behavior from the subject's perspective, not just external forces. Humans choose and interpret, so interpretations need known meanings. Humans act and interact, taking on others' roles. We feel for friends' misfortunes, share children's joy, and a husband anticipates his wife's response to a gift or dinner. Behavior is a subjective response to internal symbols, not just reactions to others. Humans must choose and interpret, and as a result, it becomes essential for this interpretation to have a known meaning. The assumption that humans act and interact shows that only people can take on the roles of others. We feel sad for a friend's misfortunes and share in the joy and playfulness of children, and a husband can anticipate his wife's response if he gives her a gift or invites her to dinner outside the home. In short, an individual's behavior is not merely a response to others, but a subjective response, meaning it is a response to the outcomes of internal symbols. Or invited her to dinner outside the home. In short, an individual's behavior is not merely a response to others, but a subjective response, meaning it is a response to the outcomes of internal symbols. The basic concepts of symbolic interaction theory include symbolic and non-symbolic social interaction, the center, and the role. The basic concepts of symbolic interaction theory begin with symbolic and non-symbolic social interaction. George Herbert Mead identified two social interaction levels, gestures and meaningful symbols. Bloomer referred to the first level as non-symbolic interaction and the second level as symbolic interaction. Individuals engage in life through non-symbolic interaction when they respond to others' movements, expressions and tones. Many interactions are symbolic, understanding each other's actions. Bloomer referred to the first level as non-symbolic interaction and the second level as symbolic interaction. Individuals engage in life in general, or in marriage and family in particular, through non-symbolic interaction when they immediately respond to the physical movements, expressions, and tones of others. However, many of their interactions occur at the symbolic level when they try to understand the meaning of each other's actions. 2. Status and role. The core of the interactionist perspective lies in the concepts of status, position, and role. But many of their interactions are on a symbolic level, as they try to understand the meaning of each other's actions. 2. Status and role. Interactionist perspective focuses on status and role. Status and role are interconnected, linking individuals to society. Status refers to one's place in the, as with defining structure and function. Position and role can be defined and discussed independently, but they are in fact inseparable. They reveal the link between individuals and their society. Here, status means one's place in the social structure, not rank. Everyone has multiple statuses, some inherited, like gender and class, and some acquired, like marital and professional status. Each status demands behavior, called a role, which is a set of norms tied to positions. Statuses like female, spouse, and child have cultural expectations. These are social, not psychological concepts, and exist independently of individuals. In the interactionist view, a role is about the relationship between our actions and others. Expectations and roles form through interaction. Each position or group of positions requires appropriate behavior, which is called a role. From a certain point of view, a role refers to a set of standards or expectations that are associated with certain situations. Culturally defined expectations exist independently of individuals and are social concepts. In the interactionist framework, roles relate to our actions and others. Interaction develops expectations and roles. Symbolic interactionism in families explains how individual behavior is shaped by society and reflects on social structures. It focuses on family regulation and interpreting interactions and shared meanings in marital and family behavior. Applications of symbolic interactionism to the family explain how the theory of symbolic interaction and several psychosocial theories explain individual behavior by society. On the other hand, it also shows how individual behavior affects groups and social structures within society. It explains how family members are influenced by family, and interprets the interactions and shared meanings in marital and family behavior. Hill and Hans argue that the concept of family interaction holds that an individual's awareness of norms commits them to the group, whether at the individual level or the collective level. The focus is on how family members are regulated by their group and the interactions central to marital and family behavior. Family interaction involves awareness of norms, committing to group behavior. Expectations are shaped by one's reference group and self-view. Roles are fulfilled when possible. Family is studied through explicit interactions, focusing on role-playing among members. The concept of family interaction holds that awareness of norms or role expectations commits behavior to group members. Expectations are defined by reference group and self-perception. Family is studied through overt interactions, focusing on role-playing among members. Ernest Burgess's writings first define symbolic interaction theory, positioning family as interacting personalities. Roles are fulfilled when possible. Most studies in the past viewed the family as a relatively closed unit, meaning that its influence on other systems outside of it is minimal, and its impact on those systems is equally slight. However, the reference framework, or the theory of symbolic interaction in the field of family, is defined for the first time through the writings of Ernest Burgess, which positions the family as a unit of interacting personalities. This means something alive, changing, and growing. However, this approach is now considered one of the classical approaches. Several years after Burgess's study, there was a comprehensive attempt to study the family from the perspective of symbolic interactionism, presented by Willard Waller in a work titled The Family: A Dynamic Interpretation. In this work, Waller divided the family experience into 5 stages of family life: the parental family, the guidance family, courtship and romance, the first year of marriage, parenting, and the fantasy nest stage. However, his idea about the necessity of courtship before marriage is currently under reconsideration. Due to the aspects of negotiation or agreement that surround it, the stage of courtship, romance and love has come under reconsideration because of cultural differences and the current era, which suggests that it is a stage of negotiation and agreement. Waller's framework is a key reference for family studies, focusing on spouse and parent-child relationships. Socialization is crucial in the symbolic interactionist approach, central to family organization. While psychologists often focus on early child socialization, the social interaction approach views it as lifelong, indicating that socialization and personality development are ongoing processes. Roles and rules represent socialization from another perspective, crucial in symbolic interactionism. Most psychologists focus on early childhood socialization, but researchers using the social interaction approach see it as lifelong. Symbolic interactionism addresses statuses, positions and power patterns, communication, conflict resolution, decision-making, and family interaction aspects. In the socialization of a child at a very early age, specifically during the first 5 years of life, researchers using the social interaction approach emphasize that socialization is a lifelong process. This means that interaction processes are never-ending, which implies that socialization is never fully complete, and that personality is never static. Finally, the theory of symbolic interactionism is not limited to roles. It also addresses issues such as statuses, positions, and the internal relationships of status that become the foundation for patterns of power, communication processes, conflict resolution, decision-making, and various other aspects of family interaction, as well as the multiple processes that begin with marriage and end with divorce.